Ciao a tutti, benvenuti a Casa Milan Persian Podcast. Forza Persiani, Forza Milan. Parliamo tutto di rossoneri in farsi.
Shevchenko nello spazio, va via Shevchenko, accelera, salta tutti Shevchenko, cerca la conclusione!
Eccoci, ciao Milanisti. Welcome to another episode of Casa Milan Persian Podcast. We are going to run this episode in English because, guys, we've got an absolute treat for you on the podcast today. Pedro Santos. If you've followed football over the years, if you followed MLS especially, you'll definitely recognize his name. Pedro's had a fascinating career that's taken him from the streets of Lisbon to some of the top leagues in the world. He started his journey in Portugal, working his way up through clubs like Casa Pia. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Pedro, please correct me. Where he absolutely lit it up as a young player. He scored 17 goals that season, if I'm not mistaken, and eventually making his mark at Braga, one of Portugal's biggest teams. While he was there, Pedro helped the club compete both in Portugal and on the European stage, picking up some silverware along the way with the Taça da Liga, if I pronounce that correctly, the Portuguese Cup. But what really stands out is Pedro's hunger to challenge himself. He took his talent abroad, playing in Romania and later becoming a fan favorite in MLS with Columbus Crew. And guys, get this. He didn't just show up in MLS, he left a legacy, winning the MLS Cup in 2020. Not every player can say that they've conquered football on two continents, but Pedro can. He's known for his versatility, whether he's flying down the wing, defending at fullback, or delivering clutch performances in key games. Pedro has done it all. Plus, he's played under some huge names in coaching like Paulo Fonseca, which we're going to talk about a lot today, and Sérgio Conceição. So you know he's got stories to share with us today, guys. So now, today we're going to dig into Pedro's career, the highs, the challenges, those behind-the-scene moments we all love to hear about. And of course, we'll talk about what it's like to work with Paulo Fonseca, who's now leading Milan. What kind of manager is he? How does he compare to someone like Conceição? Pedro's insight are going to be gold. So without further ado, let's welcome a true pro, a champion, and an all-around top guy, Pedro Santos. Welcome, man.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here and talk a little bit about myself and my career, and also like sharing like some stuff about like football, especially about Fonseca. That I know that you are a Milan fan. So it's a really pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. You have no idea how much Milan fans would like to hear on your insights about Fonseca, because not everyone it's not an everyday thing that you get the chance to actually speak to one of the ex-players of a certain coach. And this is a great opportunity. We talked a lot last week. It was a great opportunity for me as well. The stories that you said it really gave me a different angle about the game in general, because you've been there and it's quite different to experience that environment with us fans who are, basically outside of the whole environment. So let's talk about your earliest memory of falling in love with football. Was there a player or a moment that made you say, this is what I want to do?
No, so I started to play football since I remember. So on the streets with I'm the youngest brother. I have siblings, sister and brother older than me. My father, he played soccer too, so he was like a fan soccer. He would like to play for professional, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. My brother was playing too at the time. My father had the dream like to have a son to play soccer. So I was like, because you guys know, like in Europe, football. It's a important thing. Like for us, it's like a lifestyle for everybody. And I was like playing on the streets, as I remember, like I said, like since 4 or 5. I don't know, I don't remember exactly. But as I was saying, I was playing in the street with my brother. They are like 10 years older than me, player with his friends. So I was like crying every time going home, like because they hurt me a lot. But I was growing happy. And at 8 years old, my father saw me playing, and he saw like that I was like doing well on the streets, and I could like have something. So he tried to put me on the sporting academy. And I did a tryout. I get selected, but was like from 8 to 9 we didn't compete like in a real competition. So was just like practicing, have some friendlies. And then after the year, I moved to a small club in Lisbon. It's calling Artsel. And then was like when I started like really interested in football. I was playing like to practice, compete, scoring, and that starts like to move like inside. And since that, I remember that I always said that I want to be a professional soccer player, and I'm lucky because I made it. So I'm really grateful.
Right. You spoke about playing in the streets, and as you know, street football is it's kind of dying. It's been dead in developed countries, and it's dying also in developing countries. Um, is there still street football being played in Lisbon or other parts of Portugal
Yeah,
like
there is.
before?
It's not like in my time because now the kids they have like PlayStations, they have like phones. In my time, we didn't have anything, and I come from a humble family, so my parents they couldn't like give me everything. So the only thing that I had to play was a soccer ball, me and my friends. So that was the thing that we could like enjoy. And so I remember that I played soccer all the time. I was coming from the school, leaving my backpack and at home, go outside to play soccer, and was like till night. So the times are changing. So I have two kids, and I can see from them. Even now, I don't feel like safe to let them like play in the streets. So we never know what's gonna happen. So the timings are changing. But for example, in Portugal, I know that if you go to the school on the on the on the times that you don't have school, the kids are playing soccer all the time because that is like the main sport that we play in Portugal. So I know that in every single school in Portugal, they're playing soccer for sure. And this like bring a little bit the streets. So it's not like done completely, but if they go home, I think they will stay at home like playing some video games, and it's a little bit different.
Right, great insight. Yeah, it's definitely the culture is changing right now. It's not the same as before, as you said.
Yeah.
There may be more distractions right there
Yeah.
for the kids. What about lifestyle, Pedro? How was your lifestyle as a teenager, being involved in the academies and trying to grow, and you had a goal in mind and you wanted to become a professional player? What distinguished you from your friends and your groups of friends?
Yeah, so because I had my father that he pays the same almost with my brother. And in Portugal it's different because here you just can go to the bars after 21. In Portugal you like legally you can go after 18, but in some clubs they accept like 16, 17.
Right.
So the kids start like go to the bars like early. And so I had like a couple friends that even if we are like 16, if I had a game at Saturday, I would stay home at Friday and I maybe go like after the game. But some of my friends they will go like every single day. And but because my focus was like no, I can't make like any mistakes because if I don't play here, I can start like drop, and then it's like a far distance to go over. So my focus was always like on soccer first, and then everything. So I put first soccer, and the second like everything else, like even the school. To be honest, I wasn't like a school guy, but I did what I had to do on the school. But I always said I don't want to go to the school. I want to focus on soccer. So I even like put soccer in front of the school. Uh, uh, and what's wrong? Because I couldn't make it like soccer, I shouldn't have like anything to go because I didn't study. So, but yeah, so what I'm saying, like I put soccer in first, like in everything. It was like my main focus. And even when I stepped back from Sporting to Casa Pia, many of the kids like think it was like a step down, but for me it was like a step down, but was like the motivation that bring me to the professional level. So yeah, I think it was that.
Can we speak about that season? Because statistically, you did a great job. You scored 17 goals, I think, in the 2009-2010 season in only 28 games. And the year before that, you also scored 8 goals in 15 games. Can you talk about your experience there and maybe what you're talking about, that tough lifestyle and staying away from the social activities of the other kids and only focusing on football? Maybe it paid off, and maybe that's when you actually saw that, okay, it's actually working. The amount of time and energy that I'm spending here, it's actually paying off.
Yeah, so I played from 12 to 14. I played in Sporting, and that was a dream for every kid at the time, because Sporting at the time was the best youth academy. Now I think Benfica. I think no, Benfica it's better for sure. Now, but on my time was Sporting, that was like when it was Ronaldo, Quaresma, Simão Sabrosa, like biggest names, Nani, so biggest names that was like coming from the academy. Um, was the best team in Portugal. So I was like living my dream, because it's my family team was Sporting, the team that we support. I was playing in the best club in Portugal, and then they after 2 years they said that I have to go to Casa Pia, and for some of the kids can be like. A dismotivation, like say like, okay, I don't want to play soccer. I was like in the best team, now I'm one of the smallest teams in the city. But for me it was like, I don't care where I play, I just want to play. I just want to show my quality, and went to the KDP. I think, to be honest, I think was the best thing that could have happened to me, because I had a lot of friends that they wasn't Sporting too, and they play all the way to the senior level, and they didn't become professional players. And I went through another way, a hardest one to go, like more more work, but in the end was worth it. So everything was paid off, like as you said. So every sacrifice that I did, every party that I miss, was worth it, because my dream was there in front of me, and I never gave up. So.
So is that the advice you would give the younger generations, players who have a dream or playing right now currently and want to make it? Never give up.
So my advice is like, no matter where you play, if you are in the first team, on a better team, on a smaller team, it's not like a thing that is like 100%. If you are in a good team, you are gonna become a professional. If you are in a small team, or in a worse team, you not become a professional. That is not like that work. It's your work. Obviously, I think I don't like to call lucky, because I don't believe in lucky. I believe like in work, like if you any opportunities. So if you have opportunity, you have to be ready, and it's not a lucky if you have opportunity. You just have to be ready. Um, so if you have the opportunity, you just have to grab him. And my opportunity came a little bit late, I think, because I just became like real professional at 22, when I went to the professional league, not in the contract, because with a contract I was only 18. But the professional league I became at 22, and in Portugal I think that's a little bit late, but was when my opportunity came, and when the opportunity came, I just like grabbed with everything I had, and I'm here today. So.
Great. Great, great. I couldn't agree more. I don't remember which coach it was regarding luck, and he says there's no such thing as luck. Luck happens when preparation meets opportunity. Exactly what you were talking about, and you should always be prepared,
Mm.
like you
Yeah,
mentioned.
and lucky can like, you can say a lot of things. I say, you are lucky because you scored that goal. It's not a lucky. It's because you have practice for sure. It can't be like doesn't have like to be exactly the same shoot, the same technique, but you have been practice like shooting other ways, and if you score, it's not lucky. It's like you are prepared because you have practiced before. So
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You're taking your chance and you're prepared.
yeah.
Exactly. So, Pedro, fans often wonder what really happens behind the scenes. Can you share a funny or a memorable locker room story from your career, if there is something that stayed with you till today?
Nah, we have a lot of stories,
A
but
lot of stories,
it's
yeah.
always it's always tough to say like a good one because in the moment
Yeah,
it's
every
funny
day
and
is
stuff.
something, right?
But
Every
but
day.
for example, I have played with many players. There is one there in Portugal that everybody knows, and he's like crazy on a good way. He's funny. He's like doing like jokings. And when I was in Rio Ave, I was in his team. I knew it before because I played on the national team with him. Um, so he was like always trying to do like a lot of stuff to make everybody laughing, and we have like a lot of things that he did in the in the training room and on the locker rooms and even in the travels. He was like doing like a lot of stuff. So he have
Right.
like a lot of things. If you follow him, for sure you're gonna
All
laugh.
right. Do you think every club needs a character like that to kind of, insert that fun and humorous environment?
Yeah, I think it's fun. Like I like to be that guy too. So I always try to make the people around me like laughing. I like to feel the laughing from the people. I like to make some jokes, doing some silly things. But sometimes we have one crazier than you. So
Right.
I learn a lot of things to with him. So I try to do it here. But yeah, I think it's good, especially when the things doesn't go well. If everybody come like with a mood like it's down, not happy, you always live like enjoyment to come to the session. Say, okay, yeah, I'll go to the practice. This guy gonna make me laugh. We're gonna work again, and we try to go again. So I think it's always good like to have like a good locker room. I think it's the key to be successful.
And how do managers normally react to that? Like, do they go along with that fun environment, or there are some coaches who don't really like it and want more seriousness into their work?
There is always like serious, like there is place and time to be like to do jokes, to have fun. But when you go to the field, everybody works harder. So I think some coaches like that. Like special, like a lot of coaches do like team events to connect the group. So if you have that guy that can connect with everybody, they should like it because it's a good thing. But when we go to the field, it's time to work, and there is no joke. So I think um, everybody understands his like his job. So on the locker room, it's our space. We can do whatever we want. But after we go outside to the field, it's time to work. So I think
Yeah,
it's fine.
exactly. Did you ever have a personal rivalry with another player, whether friendly or competitive?
No, to be honest, no. Obviously, like in the pitch when we are in the practice, there is like some things that happen, but some like hard tackles that you sometimes you don't like it, or the guy is more frustrated and come to you and get and kick you. That is like a little argument. But like for me, I never take like anything in personal. So what happens in the pitch, in the game or in the training stays on the pitch. So after that, it's fine. So it's done, and I don't take the things like too personally. Like I said, I like everybody. I like to be good with everybody, make everybody laughing. I don't think like things like too much personal. So.
Great. And do you have any pre-game rituals or superstitions?
No, I'm not a superstition guy. But I have some rituals, yeah. But for example, here when we play at home, we just have to be in the stadium like an hour and 30 before, something like that. So I wake up in the morning, eat breakfast, rest. After the lunch, I take a nap, or I do like some. There is a forgot the name. Like there is like a big boots, that compression boots.
Mhm.
Or I can do that too. That depends how I feel my legs feels. And then before I leave, I take my shower and I go to the stadium. So I don't have like anything like specifically um, that I do. And so it will
So,
depend.
so I think you try not to think about the game. Like you try to be calm and
Yes,
relax with your activities.
because yeah, because especially in the so older I become, more stressed I stay. So I don't know if I can explain well. So when I was young, I didn't care. I just okay, it's a game, let's go. Now I have like responsibilities, and now I have the pressure. So if I start thinking too much in the game, oh, I'm gonna do this, I can do this. I start to get like anxious and nervous, so I don't feel good. So I try to not think in the game. Um, Closer to the game, I just like try to motivate myself, saying, "Okay, let's go. It's one more game. You have playing like against the biggest players, so there is just one more. So just go, do your thing, and we'll be fine." So I try to not to think too much because it's worse for me.
Right. Pedro, you've played in Portugal, Romania, and the US. How did adapting to different cultures off the pitch help you grow as a person?
Um, yeah, was really good. Like no, like other culture, especially in Romania, was tougher. Well, I just played there in 3 4 months. I don't remember. But was really good experience, but was like harder to adapt to the country. On United States was easier. Um, wasn't easy, was easier than Romania. I took my time to adapt. Was everything new, like new country, new style of food.
Yeah,
uh, like
definitely.
even in the game was like really different from Europe. The style of play here, and I had like a hard moments, especially like playing soccer that was tougher. But after a year, I was like adapt completely, and was when I start to play like really how I couldn't play. So my first year wasn't that good. I didn't score many goals. I was like struggling a little bit. I was like playing well, creating assist, but I wasn't scoring much. I think in my first year I just scored one goal. And in the end of the season I was like, okay, this is not for me. I maybe have to leave, and I almost left Columbus in the end of the 18. But in the beginning of 19 was a new owner, new coach, new motivation for me, and everything changed from there. So yeah, the culture here was almost similar than Portugal, but like the other side on the physicality, style of play on the game styles was harder for me than in Romania, for example.
Right. And can you speak about the season where you won the MLS with Columbus Crew? Because imagine like joining this team and playing only 9, 10 games and scoring only one goal, and even thinking about leaving the club where you end up winning the league with the same club. So can you speak about that transition and also the year that you won the MLS Cup? Other than the ownership change and the change of coach, what other things, what other factors were involved?
I don't know. So in the end of the 18, I was almost leaving the club. So the owners left the club because they want to sell the club. Was like a mess. So they want to move Columbus to Austin. Was like a movement from the fans and everything to keep the club in Columbus. And we knew it that from from 17. So it was a thing that was like involving everybody, the fans, the players, coach. I was signing in the club, and after like 3 months, the coach came and said, "We're gonna maybe gonna move again to another city." I was like, "Okay, this is not happening in Portugal. It's impossible. You sign for one club from your city, and then the club is gonna move to another city." So it was like a lot of things. So in 19 was I think was the the moment that changed everything. So it was the year that my father passed away, and it was the year that I did my best year so far. I don't know if the two things are connected or no. Probably yes, because I finished the season like with 11 goals, 8 assists, something like that from June to November. Was unbelievable. And in 2020 was like and when everything was like since the beginning, new players, was the COVID too. I think that was the year that is unforgettable for everybody. And we won the MLS in that year. So we prepared. We did the preseason. It was a weird season because we played the first game, we won. When we are preparing to travel to Seattle, Seattle or Portland, yeah, Seattle. We are preparing the week. The first case in COVID was in Seattle, so and we didn't know if we're gonna travel or no. And like in 2 days, they shut down everything. Like the league was canceled or postponed. We had like 3 or 4 months without playing, without leaving our houses, training, having practice at home or online. And then the MLS did the bubble, the MLS tournament in Orlando. They closed like a hotel for all the teams, and that tournament, the group stage, like every point was like we couldn't like take the points to the league in September, and we were the only team that get 9 points from the group stage. And then in September we play like 20 games. I don't know. It was just like a few games, like on just on our conference. We were like traveling to the other conference. So it was like a weird season playing without fans in the stands. But in the end we won. So was great. Was a weird year, weird year. But in the end, was like an amazing year on a professional level, and we won the MLS.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. I know that year was a crazy year for
Yeah.
every league, and a lot of results happened. Also for us Milan fans, it was the year that we went back to Champions League after 8 years of absence. And so yeah, it was a great year, I think, in terms of some football achievement for some teams, but overall
Yeah.
as as the events in the world were building up, it wasn't so good. No, of course not. Pedro, I'm going to ask you some maybe non-football related questions, and then we're going to take a quick break, and we come back and talk about Paulo Fonseca, Sérgio Conceição, if it's okay with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So outside of football, what's something you're passionate about? Is there that you can say, okay, if there is no football, this is what I want to do.
To be honest, I don't know.
It's a hard question, huh?
Yeah, it's a hard question. Because and to be honest, I never thought like anything else like that I couldn't do. Uh, even like I never worked before, so I don't have like I can do a lot of things because I learned that from my dad. So when my kids broke something at home, it's me that fix. I don't call anybody. I like to do
Right.
this type of jobs. I like to work at home. but I don't know. I can't see. I don't get. Sorry. I can't see like a thing that I can do as a job, that I can choose. Because if I don't play soccer, I want to be on the sidelines as a coach or
Exactly.
involving
Yeah.
the game.
Do you see yourself as a professional coach in the professional level?
I think so. So I'm starting my journey at the sidelines as a coach, like preparing the future, and it's a thing that I'm really like it. So I really like coach, teach kids. When I start like the courses, I didn't know if I would like it to be a coach or no. I was doing like just to test myself to see if the thing that I couldn't do or no. And then I see, yeah, I like it. It's a thing that I can see that I can do. Now it's the other side, that which way I go. I go from the youth, helping the kids, work with kids, or go to the professional level and living in the same thing that a soccer player lives, even worse, because your job depends on the results, and you are like in stress like every single day. Excuse me. So I don't know yet. I'm just like going, and let's see where the the life is gonna take me. But yeah, I like to be in both sides, I think. So I
Right.
like
Yeah, I
to.
remember from our conversation, you were saying exactly that the
Yeah.
stress that is gonna, because you have experienced it as a player and you know how it's gonna be as a coach, even if you go to that professional stage. And you were saying that that the stress is a big factor for my decision if I want to work with kids or if I want to actually go to that level.
Yeah, and become like a head coach on a professional level, it's worse than a soccer player, because we sign a contract and we know that at least 1 year we'll be on the team. And a coach can be 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, 10 games, 30 games. So you never know. You are like all stress, stress, stress every day. It's a hard
Yeah,
job.
correct. They always have that shadow of
Yeah.
expulsion following them everywhere if they do, especially if you're in a bigger club. For example, what's
Yeah.
happening with Paulo Fonseca, maybe this amount of pressure is even unique for him. Maybe even in
Yeah.
Porto or Rome, he did not experience something like that. Pedro, if you could play one more match against any team or player, past or present, who would it be and why?
Um, I will. That's a good question. So teams, there is two teams that I would like to play, especially in their stadiums. One is Liverpool
Okay.
because of the stadium, and the other one is Borussia Dortmund. Um, I don't know why. I know that there is many stadiums that have like awesome like crowds and stuff like that, but for the things that I have seen on during my life on the TV, I think it's like clubs that I would like to play there in their stadium, like to feel how is the crowd, how is the people there. So the feeling of the stadium um, was was these two clubs. But as a player, I played against Messi, so obviously I would like to play against Ronaldo too. If I couldn't take a player, I would choose like Ronaldo now.
Great. Thank you. If your teammates had to describe you in one sentence, what do you think they would say?
Ooh, probably funny, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun to be around Pedro. Well, that makes me jealous because I wish I could have played
Yeah.
beside you in the past. But yeah, unfortunately, I had a lot of injuries, and also football in Canada was never a big thing at that time. So the culture has recently started. So yeah, for my generation, it was almost a dead dream, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Pedro, what's your favorite meal? Because I know, like, as a European, you talked about this difference in food when you moved to United States, and I'm sure, as someone who also lived in Europe, and my wife is also European, and I experienced living there, and I understand how different the food, the culture of food is. I know it's difficult when you come to
Yeah,
North America.
yeah, it's
So,
true.
yeah. So what's your
Especially like
favorite meal? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
in Portugal, we have like a lot of fish,
Exactly. Oh
like
yeah,
grilled
I
fish and
remember.
something like that. And here it's tough to find. But we have like a one, it's a codfish we call bacalhau.
Yeah,
That we have like many ways to make that. And I like a lot of them. The ways that we have, it's really good. And then like we have like Portuguese like real food. That I like it too. I like one we call like cozida portuguesa. It's like it's hard to explain, but it's a lot of meat and a lot of vegetables, a lot of things,
right.
rice, potatoes. It's a lot of things, but it's really good.
Yeah, you have different ways of also barbecuing, especially I think
Yeah.
chicken. Yeah, different ways
Yeah.
of barbecuing chicken. Yeah, it's great. Now let's not talk about food in Europe because
Yeah.
I can't handle it.
Yeah.
What about a favorite goal that you've scored? That when you close your eyes,
Um,
you can always play it in replay, slow motion.
I have a couple ones for different reasons. I have one in Braga against Guimarães. It's like a rivalry game. It's a big game in Portugal, and I scored the only goal and a half volley on their stadium. So was one of my favorite ones. I have one in Columbus against the rival two against Cincinnati. I
Hmm.
won the goal of the year on Columbus that year. But I would say was the one that I scored against New York City. We tied 2-2, and that goal was the last one that my father saw. He was in the hospital after that game. He passed away. So I would say that one is not the most beautiful, but it's the most important for me.
Yeah, very sentimental. Yeah, my
Yeah.
condolences, by the way. And a favorite song that pumps you up before a match. Do you like, are you that type of player or or you
No,
don't
I
really focus
usually
on music?
I like
Yeah.
hip hop and
Okay.
this style of music. I rap. I usually you listen like Portuguese raps. But I like everything. I like reggaeton, hip hop. So I can like it's whatever would come. I will listen. So
That's
uh,
it, man. That's
yeah,
it. I love reggae. As soon as you said reggae, I'm like, okay, Pedro has taste.
yeah.
Definitely.
So I have
Yeah.
like a lot of things. Yeah.
Great. All right. Thank you so much, Pedro. There are so many questions that I want to ask you personally, like about your career. But as you know, time is limited and you're a busy man as well. And we want to also talk about Paulo Fonseca and Milan. So if you agree, let's take a quick break and we come back and we talk about
Yeah.
Milan and Fonseca. Okay, guys, welcome back. So now let's talk about Paulo Fonseca. Pedro had the history of playing under Fonseca for 2 seasons, if I'm not mistaken, in Braga, or was it one season, Pedro?
Was one season.
1 season, and I think that
Yeah.
was your best season as well
Yeah.
in your career in Portugal. So, as you know, Paulo Fonseca is currently under significant pressure at Milan. From your experience, how does he handle criticism in high pressure situations? Does he thrive under it, or does it affect his demeanor?
No, I think he have like much more experience now. And to be honest, I think he's prepared for that. Obviously, like a lot of things going on. He's in playing one of the biggest teams in Europe in the world. But and we know that in this job we need time. So I believe that he have time. Like he will be better, especially in the next season. So when he was in Braga was the same thing. So he was like struggling a little bit in the beginning, but then in the end of the season, when the players get what he wants for the team, we start playing very well. And he showed that he's a really good coach. Wherever he goes, he does like usually good jobs. Uh, but now he's under pressure, as you said, and he have to handle. But I think he's prepared. I think this doesn't affect his job. I think can affect his life, but not like his job.
Right. He's often praised for his tactical intelligence. So, as a player under him, did you feel like his ideas were easy to understand and implement, or did they take time to click?
No, it's easy. It's easy to understand, but it will depend on the players. If you have a player that is smart, it can take like 2, 3 practice to take it. If it's a player that have to work and be more patient, he have to work and he spend more time. But so will depend on the player. Obviously, there is some players that take the things like quicker than the others, and especially like for me in the position that I was playing is like a key position for style of play. Excuse me. So the tens and the six was the important players, and it's the players that he have to work more. So the idea is it's easy, and now because I play there and this my game model, if I became a coach, I want to follow like some ideas that he has in Braga. So I think, as I said, he needs time to work with the players to help them, and when they get the ideas, I think he will be player better soccer.
Yeah, that's interesting. You pointed out number 6 and number 10 and how important they are in Fonseca's plans. And it's interesting because those are exactly the two positions that we lack the right players for in Milan. And that's also a struggle that we've had in the past years as well. Pioli had to deal with this problem, and now also Fonseca has to deal with it because the ownership did not really back him up with a natural number 6 or a natural number 10. And Fonseca basically is trying different players there. Right now, Christian Pulisic is playing there. Last season, we had Loftus-Cheek playing there, De Ketelaere, Ibrahim Diaz, and none of them were a natural number 10, basically.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't follow Milan much now because sometimes it's tough to follow the so many games. I don't know how he's playing, the style of play that he's playing, but when he was in Braga, he was playing on a 4-4-2 with two strikers, and the two number 10s are the wingers. So the wingers are playing more inside and giving the space outside the wings for the fullbacks. And it's like the way that I play, I like to come in the pockets, and he was playing with Rafa sometimes on the other side. That is in Besiktas now. He's a natural number 10, so he can play in the pockets too. So I think we work very well playing on the pockets. But if you have a player as like Rafael Leão, that he's like a winger, a full a hold style winger, like on the wing, go 1v1s, you can put him inside. It's not worth it, so it's not gonna work. So I think I don't know if he's adapting his style of play to play with Leon on the wing and put somebody like on the pocket. So it's the thing that the coach have to manage a little bit. And if that is the case, I think you will need more time to work on it. So because you have to find a solution to play with everything he wants.
Right. And bringing up Rafa Leao's name here is actually related to my next question because I wanted to ask you about Fonseca's relationship with his players. And as you know, in the past couple of months, he's been having some issues with Rafa Leao, and basically Rafa Leao had to start a few games from the bench, and the whole thing in media. And this also brings me back to, again, the conversation that we had last week in United States in our coaching classes, where you told me something interesting about the fact that Fonseca was never a professional player. So he reached this level as a coach. And so when
No,
he had
he
to,
was. He
Was
was
he
a
like a
professional. Yeah. So
professional?
he played in the
But
first league
not
in Portugal, yeah.
right,
But not
okay.
on the top.
Not on a top level, basically. And so when he went to Porto, he had some problems with his stars, and then in Rome he also had problem with Dzeko and Florenzi, and now with Rafa Leao, and maybe these events forced him to change. Every time he changed the team, he also had to change a few principles. Could you speak a little bit more about that? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happens inside. I know him from the year that we had in Braga. I know Paulo too many years because I played against him in Lisbon when he was in other teams, but I never and I almost played with him when I was waiting. I almost signed for his team. But I just work with him in Braga, and he has good personality. He's a good person. I don't know what is happening to for him to fight with. And if you see and you say like big names, so every time he goes to a team, he fight with the star of the team. So I don't know if I think that he's scared like to have a player that is like bigger than him, and he tried to go like on the first time like to the confrontation to resolve a problem that probably is not there. So when he was in Braga, he was a good coach. He was like friendly. He was like making jokes, like playing with the friends, no, with the players. So I don't know what happened to for him to change. It's maybe something happened. I know that in Porto he struggled a little bit because of that, because he was like managing players that are bigger than him and have more name than him. And that was a problem for him in Portugal. He couldn't manage that. Now maybe he see that as a threat. He see that he have a player as a his bigger name than him, and he go like on him without a reason, like to to for that. So I don't know. It's at the time he was like good coach, good ideas, good person. He was like friendly, as I said, from the players. So I don't know what couldn't change him
No,
to
it
to.
could, yeah, but he could still be the same, but as like the environment could be different, and pressure can make you make different decisions than before.
Yeah, that's true. It's like sometimes like under pressure, he can see things that we don't see. Even in practice, he can feel like maybe he's feeling that the players are not giving like 100% to help him, and we maybe feel like there is a problem. So I don't know. To be honest, to just to be there to understand what's happening.
Can you recall a specific time when Fonseca's words or actions inspired you or the team during a difficult period? Or for example, let's say maybe your team is behind, you're losing, and it's halftime, you're in the change room. Was there any specific?
No, like the only thing, no, the one thing that I take, it's like when we are preparing the games, he was always say we are not worried about the opponents, we just care about our team. So if we do what we have to do, we're gonna win, but we have to do it. So and his style of play, he was always like working in like usually the teams have like the first 11 and then the others. So and he was like always working with the players, and we never know what's gonna happen, who's gonna play. But doesn't matter who is gonna play, we know what to do. So and the practice was like always working with everybody to make sure that everybody understands what to do when it came to the games. And in the games, it's exactly the same. So when we are to start the game before like 10 minutes before the game, on the last conversation that we have on the locker room, he was always saying no matter what happened, if we don't score in the first minute, we have 90 minutes to score. We just have to keep playing. Don't change everything that we work, and we're gonna end up to score and to win the game. Sometimes we didn't win that because this is soccer, so a lot of things can happen. But in the end, we finished the season very well.
You've seen Fonseca during tough times at Braga. How did he react to setbacks, and what did he do to rally the team back on track? So let's say if you went through a few ties and a defeat, and now the team needed a slap to wake up, basically, was there anything that he would do differently?
No, so and we had that moments. We had moments that we didn't play well. We are not doing what he wants, and he was working like on videos, like to showing to be hard on the players to make sure that they are doing what he wants. And like I said, and in the beginning of the season, we were struggling a little bit. We didn't play well. We didn't win, but he was like always trying to say trust on the process, trust on the style of play. If you're gonna do the things right, we're gonna be successful. And in the end, we were. So.
Um, is there was there anything unique about the training sessions? Did you have training sessions or approaches that stood out compared to your other managers?
No, so I remember that on the end of the season we had work with the with the mental coach. I don't remember exactly if it was on the year that he was there. I think so. So on the end of the season we start working with the mental coach on the team. And that was fun because we did a lot of things to connect the group even more. And in the end, we play Portuguese Cup and we won. So it was good.
Right. Yeah, I think that was a great achievement. Because at the year you had a lot of challenges, right? I
Yeah.
think you had a lot of huge teams going for that. Having played under both Fonseca and Sergio Conceição, how would you compare their ability to motivate and lead a team? And who would you prefer to be your coach if you had to choose?
I
Yeah.
don't have a preference
Okay.
because I like both styles.
Right.
I like the style of Sérgio. He's a little bit crazy and it's too much, but it's because he wants to win all the costs. So, and Fonseca, it's more calm. It's more like on the tactical stuff. Uh, so I like both. Obviously with Paulo, it's more easy to deal like day by day. With Sergio, we never know what to expect for him. Sometimes some days he's in a good mood, some days he's in a bad mood. So we never know. But I really like it. So if I want to go as a coach, I can take both things and be together because I like the intensity that Sergio lives the game. He loves the game. He's passionate, so I like that side. But I like the tactical side of Paulo. As I said, my game model. I want to work on his ideas, so I like both styles.
Right, right. So if I understood correctly, basically Fonseca relies more on tactics, emotional intelligence, and Conceição more charisma, more of a disciplinarian, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, he's tactical too. So, but he's more
Definitely, yeah,
like,
of course.
on the compactness. So the team is more defensively, like running, be aggressive without and with the ball. Paul is more like shuffling, like not like be aggressive
Right.
as Sergio. So yeah.
Right. I'm gonna ask you a question. You don't have to answer this. If you were the owner of Milan and you had to choose between Fonseca and Conceição for the team, who would you have chosen to be your head coach? Because Conceição was also linked to Milan this summer,
Yeah.
so it was basically a race between Conceição and Fonseca, and Fonseca was at the end
I would say
appointed.
probably on this moment, probably Conceição on this tough moment of Milan.
Right. Yeah, because of his experience, his run with Porto was actually very impressive, especially against Arsenal in Champions League. Great game. Yeah, yeah. Milan fans often debate whether a coach can fully express their ideas in just a few months. From your experience, how long does it usually take for players to fully adapt to Fonseca's system?
It will depend. So on this case, he did the preseason, so they should like be on the time that they should understand already. If he comes like in the middle of the season, it's tough because he needs time to implement everything. But at this time, they shouldn't do like with the preseason, with all the time that they had before. They shouldn't be already understand his ideas.
Right. And do you think Fonseca will finish the season?
Uh,
Because I don't know if you have followed the Serie A table, but the difference right now, Champions League is in danger, basically.
yeah, so I think so. I think he will finish the season if he gets better on the table on Italy leagues. If he can start to get better, I think the Champions League will hold him a little bit if he do as well, and if he does well on Champions League.
Right, right. And in his second year, things might
Yeah,
change
if he start the second year,
dramatically.
yeah, I think he will be much better.
Right. Okay, great. And we're almost done, Pedro. What's something about Paulo Fonseca that fans might not know? For example, I know you mentioned that he has humor, but like, are there any hobbies or like how he bonds with players outside of football?
I don't know. I think as I said, he's funny, and we saw like some press conference that he came like one of them. He came like as a Zorro.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
So he's a funny guy. So, but he's under pressure, so it's tough for him to show himself as a funny coach. So
Right. So his humor stands
yeah,
out,
yeah.
basically. All right. Okay. I'm pretty much done with my questions. I don't have any more questions. To be honest, it's also difficult to understand. You worked with Fonseca almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And in these 10 years, Fonseca has gone through a lot of challenges as well. And as a Milan fan, I really wish him all the best because if he succeeds, Milan succeeds. And that's what we want. And thank you so much, Pedro. Hopefully we can see you on more episodes talking about different things, football related and non-football related, and use your insights. I'm sure the guys all enjoy it, all the Milan fans around the world. And thank you for giving us this time.
No, you're welcome. Thank you so much for the invitation again.
All right, guys. Okay. All right. Thank you so much and have a nice day. Cheers.
Ciao a tutti, benvenuti a Casa Milan Persian Podcast. Forza persiani, forza Milan. Parliamo tutto di rossoneri in farsi.
Shevchenko nello spazio, va via Shevchenko, accelera, salta tutti Shevchenko, cerca la conclusione!